Ezra and his cousins had just discovered a hint into their grandmother's past and what secrets the old shed in the garden may have locked within its dark and mysterious depths. Now they absolutely must find the shed key. The mission had a name now: Operation Shed Key. It was written on a piece of notebook paper taped to the back of the bunk bed ladder with an official stamp of a peanut butter smudge in the corner. "Every mystery needs a good name," Lana said. "And a good plan," Ezra added, pulling out a map he had drawn of Grandma's house, which looked more like a slice of pizza than a building. But the effort was there. The goal: find the key to the shed without making Grandma suspicious. "I vote we start with the obvious," Tolu said. "The junk drawer." They charged the kitchen like secret agents, except Tolu, who got distracted by the cookie jar. Drawer after drawer was pulled open, examined, and shut again. They found a rubber band ball the size of an orange, 3 loose batteries, a paperclip chain, and a tiny screwdriver that was either for glasses or for tiny pirate ship repairs. No key. Lana suggested checking Grandma's room. Ezra vetoed it with a firm "That's sacred ground." Tolu tried asking Grandpa in the most casual way possible. "Hey, Grandpa, what's the weirdest thing you've ever locked up?" Grandpa looked over his newspaper and raised an eyebrow. "Your Uncle Donnie's keyboard when he wouldn't stop playing chopsticks at 3 a.m. "Noted," Tolu mumbled. 2 hours, 1 almost argument, and a mysterious jelly bean discovery later. Still no key. Ezra flopped onto the couch in mild defeat. Grandma was humming in the next room, flipping through one of her recipe books, looking for a pie crust that doesn't taste like floor tiles. Ezra sat up, an idea dawning on him. Grandma's recipe books. He crept to the creaky shelf of books that stood just off the kitchen door and pulled out one of Grandma's recipe books. The oldest one, brown cover, a little frayed, smelled like cinnamon and secrets. He opened it carefully. Inside were pages filled with notes in Grandma's swoopy handwriting. "Add more nutmeg. Donnie's allergic. Whoops." Tucked between the pages was something thin and crispy. A pressed flower. It was purple with tiny yellow edges, like a star that fell into a garden and stayed there. Pinned to the same page was a string, and dangling from it, "The key!" Ezra Whisper shouted. It was old and brassy, with a flower engraved on its head. Lana and Tolu appeared instantly beside him like cats who heard a can opener. They stared at it for a moment, not touching it yet. Just smiling. "Tomorrow," Lana whispered. We opened the shed. The next morning, the sun was back. The air smelled like wet grass and pancakes. The 3 of them stood in front of the shed, key in hand. Grandma was inside taking her morning tea, completely unaware that her grandchildren were about to unlock history. Ezra reached up. The lock clicked once, then twice, and with a small clink, it opened. He pulled the door wide. Dust danced in golden sunlight. Inside, the shed wasn't spooky. It was magical. Shelves lined with old clay pots, paintbrushes and jam jars, tiny spades and gloves and garden tools. There were bundles of dried herbs hanging from the beams and stacks of wooden signs with names like Sunbeam Sprouts and Poppy Parade painted in curly letters. Seed packets were tucked into baskets. Some were so old the colors had faded. A faded poster on the wall read, "Maplewood Flower Fair, Booth 17, Rita's Garden Delights." It wasn't just a shed. It was a time machine. "This is beautiful," Lana whispered. Tolu poked a bag of soil. "Smells like Grandma's old coat and happiness." Ezra stepped carefully into the center of the space, turning in slow circles. "It's like she pressed a flower," and forgot her whole garden. They looked around quietly for a few more minutes, breathing it in. The colors, the quiet, the feeling that someone had once loved this space very much. Operation Shed Key was complete, but the adventure was just beginning. Ezra was elbow deep in a crate of faded seed packets when the door creaked open behind them. The kids froze. Tolu held up a spade like a sword. Lana stood in front of a stack of painted signs like she was guarding treasure. And Ezra, dirt on his knees, the key still dangling around his neck, turned slowly to face Grandma! She stood in the doorway, holding a mug of tea, eyebrows raised, lips twitching at the corners. "Well," she said softly, "I see the explorers have found my old jungle." No one said a word. Then Ezra blurted out, "We didn't break anything." Grandma chuckled, stepping inside. Her eyes traveled over every shelf, every jar, every dried-up bouquet. She reached out and touched a pair of paint-stained gloves, hanging right where she left them. "I haven't been in here in years," she said, voice quiet now. "Not since your grandpa got sick. I packed it all away and just forgot to come back." Lana looked up. "You used to paint these signs?" Grandma nodded. "I had a garden stall once. The Bloom Lady, they called me. I'd bring fresh flowers to the fairgrounds every month. Sometimes I even won ribbons." Tolu's eyes widened. "You were like flower famous?" "Something like that," she smiled. "There was always dirt under my nails and color in my hair. I loved it, but things changed. Life got busy. I didn't think anyone would care about some old seeds anymore." "But we care," Ezra said. "We really care," Lana added. "We want to bring it back," said Tolu. "The whole thing. The signs, the flowers, the smell that makes you want to sing for no reason." Grandma blinked. Ezra stood up and held out the seed packet he'd found earlier. "We even found sunflower seeds. Your favorite, right?" Her hand trembled a little as she took the packet. "These were from my last bloom season," she whispered. "I thought I lost them." The kids didn't say anything for a moment. Then, all at once, "We can clean up the tools. We can paint the signs. We can set up a new stall. We'll water everything. We can call it the Bloom Lady's Return." Grandma laughed then. Really laughed, and the sound was like a song the house hadn't heard in years. "Well," she said, putting her mug down and rolling up her sleeves, "if we're bringing her back, she'll need a lot of help." Later that afternoon, paint splattered the grass. Watering cans sloshed. Gloves were too big, and tools were sometimes used upside down. But the laughter was loud, and Grandma's smile never left her face. Together, they planted marigolds and daisies and sweet-smelling herbs. They cleaned the shelves and painted new signs with names like Sunshine Row and Granny's Garden Gang. Grandma even found her old apron and tied it proudly around her waist. As the sun dipped low and fireflies blinked in the bushes, the shed didn't look like a shed anymore. It looked like the beginning of something new and something very old all at once. The Bloom Lady was back, and her garden was blooming again. The garden was ready. Well, mostly ready. There was a crooked sign or two. A few marigolds were leaning a little too far to the left. The lemonade was a bit too lemony. Tolu insisted more sugar would have fixed it. And Ezra had paint on one ear that just wouldn't come off. But none of that mattered. Because today wasn't about perfect. It was about joy. "Okay," Lana whispered, peeking out from behind the curtain they'd tied across the shed's open doorway. "Grandma's coming!" Ezra straightened his shirt, then immediately wrinkled it again by wiping his hands on it. Tolu adjusted the streamer that had fallen over the "Welcome Back, Bloom Lady" sign. Then the back door creaked open, and there she was, Grandma, in her straw hat and old garden apron, walking into the backyard like it was the first time. She froze. All around the yard were painted pots overflowing with color: daisies, marigolds, zinnias, herbs, and even a single proud sunflower nodding its head toward the sky. The shed door was wide open, shelves freshly wiped down, signs glowing in new paint, and a handmade stall sitting right beside it, with a little banner that said, "The Bloom Ladies stand, flowers and smiles." Grandma blinked. Once, twice. Then she laughed. It was the same laugh from the photos they'd found in the attic. Light, full of sparkle, like a secret that finally felt free. Ezra stepped forward, holding out a paper flower crown they'd made together that morning. "For our guest of honor." She put it on with a dramatic bow. "Do I look the part?" "You look like sunshine," Lana grinned. Neighbors and friends trickled in, drawn by the music, the laughter, the faint scent of mint and lemonade. Miss Charlie from next door brought cookies. Mr. Leo from across the road offered to help carry a pot. Kids ran around with wildflower bracelets and hands full of petals. Benji, the cat, who never showed up for parties, appeared like a royal guest and promptly took a nap in the herb basket. Grandma manned her stand with a proud smile, handing out flowers in exchange for promises. "Give this to someone who makes you smile. This one's for your mum. Tell her it's from the Bloom Lady." And every time she said it, her voice got lighter. Her shoulders stood taller. Ezra watched from the tree swing, a lemonade in hand. "You know," he said to Lana and Tolu, "we didn't just find a key to the shed." Tolu raised an eyebrow. "Here we go. Ezra's turning poetic again." But Lana was already smiling. "We opened a part of Grandma that's been locked for a long time." Ezra nodded. "And we didn't just bring back the Bloom Lady. We brought back her garden and her grin." They clinked plastic cups together in a toast. To flowers. To memories. To coming back. And somewhere between the sunflower and the cookie tray, Grandma Rita twirled like she used to do at the fair, her laughter lifting high above the petals and paint and popcorn breeze. The Bloom Lady had returned, and her garden wasn't the only thing blooming.